All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the N1 Podcast. And before I start off, I'd like to let y'all know that I do have an Instagram, the number one underscore podcast. I have a Twitter, and1 podcast 23, and I do write sports articles on Stadium Rant. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. Now, I want to start off this episode and talking about the recent hate that Jayson Tatum has been receiving. And I've been very critical on Jayson Tatum as well, because his playoff performance has not been the best this season. And me personally, I'm not a Jayson Tatum hater. I don't hate Jayson Tatum because I do believe he is a superstar, and his season averages show that he is a superstar. I mean, recently he made first team All-NBA, so that shows you he is a superstar on his 64-win Boston Celtics team. So I don't think he is a bad player. I just don't like the fact that he is underachieving in the playoffs. Now, some people will agree with me, while other people think it's too harsh. Other people may say, oh, there's no reason to go after him. He's been through he has all this playoff experience, and you going after him still. And that is the thing. He has all this playoff experience, and he is not playing to the hype of a superstar. You are a bus driver, sir. And as a bus driver, you cannot be the second or third best player on your playoff team. Last night, as of this recording, the Boston Celtics did beat the Indiana Pacers, and Jaylen Brown put up 40 points. With those 40 points, he shot 40% from 3 and 51% from the field. Now, Jayson Tatum, on the other hand, for some reason, this man only put up 23 points, and he shot 45% from the field, which is nice, and 14% from 3. That's not a superstar right there. He's not. You average 28 points per game in the season. And again, I don't hate Jayson Tatum at all. I do think that he is a great player. He is a top 3 player in his position, actually. And when he's at his best, he could be a top 5 player in the NBA. But that's the thing, at his best. And looking at him right now, he's not playing at his best. Recently, a basketball YouTuber, 2for2, made a video, and he was talking about Jayson Tatum and how he doesn't like the narrative of Jayson Tatum right now. And he doesn't like how Anthony Edwards is getting all this attention and praise while Jayson Tatum isn't. Now, you have your own critiques, and I'm not going to say, oh, you're stupid or anything like that. I didn't agree with his take, and his take was, how is Jayson Tatum getting all this hate after all of this playoff success? And Anthony Edwards, who's younger, he's getting this, oh, he's the next face of the league, and Jayson Tatum, he's getting all this hate. And although, yes, Jayson Tatum doesn't deserve all the hate that he gets, but look at Anthony Edwards. Look at what he's doing right now with the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is elevating the Timberwolves, a team that hasn't seen the conference finals since 2004. That's their first, and now this is their second conference finals appearance. That's one. Two, Anthony Edwards is elevating his game in the playoffs. He was averaging about 25 points per game this season, and right now in the playoffs, he's averaging 28 points. He's averaging 6 rebounds, 6 assists on nearly 50% shooting and 40% from 3. Not to mention that Anthony Edwards swept his idol. He swept his idol Kevin Durant in the first round, and even though he didn't play extravagantly well in the Denver Nuggets series, he was still dominating in his own way. The Timberwolves still managed to beat the Nuggets by 45 in Game 6 and then walk out with the win in Game 7. Jayson Tatum, what has he done these playoffs? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, he put up 33 points back-to-back against Cleveland, but that's the most I can really say. His only highlight is him dunking on Caleb Martin in the Heat series. He hasn't really shown up these playoffs, and that's the thing. You are a superstar. If you are titled a superstar, bus driver, whatever you want to say, right? And you are not showing up, yeah, you can be effective on other sides of the court. You could be effective on defense. You could be a great playmaker. But if you are seen as a 3-level scorer, if you are seen as the first scoring option, and you are not being that first scoring option, then what are you then? Yeah, he's a great defender. Yeah, he's pretty good at playmaking these playoffs. But besides that, he's not shooting efficiently. And when you were averaging 30 points per game not too long ago, when you were averaging 28 points per game this season, and now your points per game and especially your efficiency just drops dramatically, then people are going to start pointing fingers. People are going to start talking. I will say this, it isn't fair that young players get all of these different expectations because of their hype. I will say that, because as the media is setting up these young players for failure, And I've said this already in my last episode where you can be an MVP, but if you don't get a championship that same season, you're going to be titled a fraud. It's just straight up. If you are seen as a superstar and you don't make it to the finals, you're seen as a fraud. You have one bad game, you're seen as a fraud. But this season, these playoffs, Jayson Tatum has not shown up at all. And he's not a fraud. I don't think so. Because in his whole career, he has all of these playoff appearances. He has all of these conference finals appearances under his belt. He has a finals appearance under his belt before even turning 30 years old. So I don't think he's a fraud. But I don't see him being that superstar player in the playoffs because he hasn't shown that these playoffs so far. Another thing 2 for 2 mentioned is how it's not fair that Jayson Tatum gets all of this ridicule for his past play. I didn't like that take, really, because it doesn't make any sense when you look at the fact that superstars of the past and even current superstars get the same treatment. You look at the GOAT conversation, right? For example, what's the main argument? LeBron is 4-6, Jordan is 6-0. Look at the GOAT conversation again. LeBron had his 2011 playoff meltdown. People say, oh, before Pippen, Jordan couldn't win anything. But when you start succeeding, it outshines your failures. What was Curry's biggest critique? He never won a Finals MVP. Now he won that Finals MVP in 2022. People are regarding him as one of, if not the greatest point guard of all time. Look at Dirk. Dirk is another example. Dirk is one of the most well-respected guys of all time, right? He got that one championship in 2011. Before that championship in 2011, he was getting a lot of ridicule because he couldn't get it done. What season was it? 2007 or 2008? I believe it was 2007. He wins MVP that season, and he gets booted out in the first round against the Warriors. Could you imagine a guy winning MVP as the first seed these days and getting booted out in the first round against the 8th seed? That player would never, ever, ever hear the end of it. You can look at Kobe as well. Did we talk about how Kobe airballed 2 threes against the Utah Jazz in 1997? No, we talk about his 5 rings. The moment you start succeeding, it's going to outshine your failures. And it's going to happen to Jayson Tatum too. Another example is Giannis. Y'all remember when Giannis couldn't win the championship? Y'all remember when Giannis lost in 2019, lost in 2020? Everybody was like, oh, Giannis can't get it done. Oh, Giannis is going to leave the Bucks. Giannis is going to join the Warriors. Then he wins in 2021. And then now everybody is putting him on these all-time lists, which he does deserve. But this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying this to hate on any guys, any players, or anything like that. But that's just the truth. Your success is going to outshine your failures. The moment Jayson Tatum wins a championship, if he wins a championship as the best player on the team, being the bus driver, nobody's going to talk about what he did in 2022. Nobody's going to talk about what he did in 2020. Nobody's going to talk about what he did in 2023. That is going to be a thing of the past. That's just going to be crumbled up and thrown away. Why? Because we're going to be focused on your success. Again, I'm not hating on this guy. You're entitled to whatever take you want, even if it's not agreed upon by the masses. I have my own hot takes. Everybody has their own hot takes, right? And if you believe that, then that's what you can believe. I don't care. But Anthony Edwards, at the end of the day, he's 22. He's playing great in the playoffs. He's leading his team to a conference finals. Jayson Tatum had the same thing. When Jayson Tatum was young and he was leading his teams to all these conference finals appearances, all these deep playoff runs, wasn't Jayson Tatum also getting praise? Eventually, you're not going to get praise if you're not winning anything. That's just what happens. If you are a young star and you are leading your team to deep playoff runs and you have nothing to show for it after that, then yeah, you got the deep playoff runs, but where's the ring? At the end of the day, it's all about winning championships in the NBA. That's just how it is. You just got to get championships. If you're not getting championships and you're a superstar, people are going to ridicule you. That's it. I mean, you can go as far back as the 1960s. Wilt was not winning anything, but he was putting up great stats. They called him a stat patter. People today think he's a stat patter still. I do think he's a stat patter, but when he started putting his stats down, that's when he started succeeding. And he wins that championship with the Lakers, those 2 championships with the Lakers, actually. And now, I mean, people of the 60s probably didn't think he was a stat patter anymore because he was winning. Honestly, the only player that has succeeded, but we still talk about his failures in reality, besides LeBron because of the GOAT conversation, is Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is like the only true exception to that rule because we already know how that championship went. And we know what happened after that championship. But look at guys, again, I'm going to go back to Dirk. Dirk, he got one championship, and after that, no playoff appearances that much. And the moments he made the playoffs, he didn't make it back to the finals, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because that one championship he got was so meaningful that it erased the past failures, and nobody even cares about the future failures that he had. Nobody cares. Not hating on Dirk, because he's a top 3 power forward of all time. But back to Tatum. Tatum, if he's the bus driver, if he's the leader, if he's the best player on the team, because right now it's looking like Jaylen Brown is the best player on the team in these playoffs. But Jayson Tatum turns into that best player on Boston because we know he can be that best player in Boston. And he wins a championship in convincing fashion, then boom. Nobody's going to care about what he did in the past, his failures, whether he's shooting 20% from 3 or whether he's shooting 38% from 3. Nobody's going to care about that. Why? Because we're going to focus on that championship he won. Now I want to go over to the WNBA for a little bit. Why do they hate Caitlin Clark so much, man? Why? Just she the reason why y'all got some charter flights, all right? She the reason why y'all getting that. So please stop it. Yes, the Indiana Fever are 0-5. Are we forgetting they got the first overall pick? I don't understand why y'all expect. Yeah, she is a great player. Yes, she is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, female college athlete of all time. But you can't expect her to just change a team like that. When LeBron got drafted into the league, the Cavaliers didn't make the playoffs their first season. When Shaq got into the league, the Magic didn't make it to the playoffs their first season. Hey, you can't expect one player to shift an entire team like that. And it's not even just the fact that the Fever are 0-5. Just the pure jealousy that you see these WNBA players bringing up, just exposing themselves as just complete jealous. I understand that you've spent years and years and years trying to build up the WNBA, trying to make the league profitable, but nobody was watching it because nobody saw it as entertaining. Now you got somebody, and it's not even just her, it's just like this new generation of female basketball players that's bringing energy to basketball, that's bringing energy to the female side of basketball, that's bringing notoriety to female basketball. But for some reason, they don't like it, especially because Caitlin Clark is the face of this new generation of women's basketball players. And I hate to talk about this because this is just about basketball, but the politics side, like just bringing up politics in sports is just completely stupid. Saying it's because she's white, that's why she's getting all this attention. She's white and straight. That is so stupid. That is a stupid take. That I know you're entitled to all your takes, but there are just some takes that are just like, why even say that? There's no point to bring race, there's no point to bring sexuality. Like, just keep politics outside of sports. And that is one reason why people aren't watching sports anymore, because sports are bringing too much politics in there. No, we didn't watch the WNBA. It's not because y'all are women. Because if that was the case, March Madness women's basketball wouldn't be getting that many views. I mean, just the finals alone, they gained more views than the last NBA finals. The second to last game of the March Madness women's tournament, that got more views than the NBA finals of the last couple of years. That's just how it is, bruh. If it's entertaining, if people are loving it, they're gonna watch it. And just using the race card or using the sexuality card, I don't like that. And that was a reason why people weren't watching the NBA in 2020, because they put politics in there. And me, as a black dude in America, like, yeah, I get it. There's racism and all that. And I'm not going to talk about the racism. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm just trying to make my point that sports and politics don't go hand in hand. They don't. Because politics separates people. Sports is supposed to bring people together. And once you mesh those two worlds together, it's a disaster. It is a disaster. People were not agreeing. They didn't like the fact that the NBA was doing all of this BLM stuff, guys kneeling for the national anthem. And again, I am not giving my political standpoint. I'm just giving my views on what other people felt and how I felt about how they did this. And politics, again, should just be far, far away from sports, because sports is just supposed to be entertaining. We're supposed to be loving it. We're supposed to be coming together as fans and just rooting for our teams, and that's it. That is it. Go home happy or sad whether you win or lose, and hopefully you win the next game if you lost, and hopefully you win the next game if you won this game. But I do hope that the WNBA gets viewership. I do hope that the WNBA gets more notoriety, because I do believe that with this generation of female basketball players, they definitely can make noise. They can make some noise. They can get the WNBA some viewership. Caitlin Clark is already helping out with that $28 million Nike deal. That is just insane. Insane. Because so far, there still hasn't been a WNBA player to crack like the $5, $6, $7 million, $8 million mark worth of salary. And just the fact a woman coming out of college already had a Nike deal, $28 million, just shows how amazing she was in college. For all the former and current WNBA players hating on her because she shoots so many shots a game and she's playing with 18-year-olds, and that's not fair. They're 19 and she's like 25 years old. No, that wasn't true. Those are false. But okay, if you wanna lie about her age, that's fine, I guess. I mean, she's 22 years old, but that doesn't make you look good, because if you're gonna make these accusations and people do the research and see that these are false, you're just looking bad. You're making yourself look bad, and you're making the WNBA as a league look bad. But it isn't new. I mean, when LeBron was coming in, his teammates weren't happy about it. His future teammates, let me say that. They're like, I'm not gonna listen to no high school guy. I don't believe some high school guy gonna change the team. Future vision, I guess. Let's go back in time to 2003. Let's give him a little bit of future vision. Buddy, in like 3 years, in 2006, y'all go into the NBA playoffs, and 2007, in his fourth season, y'all going to go to the NBA Finals. So, yeah, I think this 18-year-old kid from Akron, Ohio is definitely going to change his team around. I hope WNBA players definitely warm up to Caitlin Clark. I really do hope that, because Caitlin Clark has the key herself, Cameron Brink, Camila Cardoso as well, Angel Reese. They have the keys to elevate women's basketball on the WNBA on the professional level. And that's just how it was in the NBA. I mean, in the 70s, the NBA wasn't making much money. In the 60s, the NBA players weren't making much money. The moment that Bird and Magic came in, that's when the NBA skyrocketed. And then Michael Jordan took it to an even higher level. And right now, this new generation of WNBA players, they have the potential to be that version of Magic and Bird, and then we just need that version of Michael Jordan for the WNBA, and then that's when the WNBA is going to skyrocket even more. I mean, that's really it. That's all I got for today. Jayson Tatum, I hope he does play better in these playoffs, in the upcoming games. I really do. He plays better. Although I do still say Pacers in 6, Indiana. Come on, let's rise. Let's rise, Indiana. I'm not a Pacers fan, but I am a supporter of the Indiana Pacers. I have been enlightened about the Indiana Pacers. So please, Indiana, don't make me look bad. Please, Minnesota, I really don't want you to make me look bad either. Although I do want the Dallas Mavericks to win, but I do got the Timberwolves, because I did say they beat the Nuggets, they go into the finals, and most likely will be winning it all. So, Minnesota, come on, let's go. It's only game one. It was only game one, so there's that. But with all of that being said, Minnesota in 7, Pacers in 6. WNBA players, please light up to Caitlin Clark. She is here to help y'all, not hurt y'all. And finally, Jayson Tatum, for all of this hate. It was criticism at first, and for me, it's criticism, but soon it's going to turn into real hate, and I don't like that. I don't want them to hate on Jayson Tatum, because he is a superstar, first-team All-NBA player once again, future MVP in the league. So hopefully he does play better in these playoffs, and hopefully he does win a championship for Boston in the upcoming future. But it's not going to be this season, because the Indiana Pacers are going to win in 6. But that's all I got for y'all. So I'm out.